What is a pastry? Pastry is a type of dough made with flour, water, and shortening. Baked pastry dough can be sweet or savory, and consumed alone or with fillings. Pastry is characterized by its flaky and crumbly texture and rich buttery flavor. Shelf life of filled pastry is dependent on free water availability and susceptibility to moisture migration. Typical pastry shelf life ranges from a couple of days for meat-containing pastries to a few weeks for high-sugar fillings. Some commonly known types of pastries include short crust pastry, puff pastry or pâté feuilleté, choux pastry or pâté à choux, flaky pastry, filo pastry, suet crust pastry, rough puff pastry, hot water crust pastry, pâté sucré pastry. Where did pastries come from? Pastry dough may have originated in Egypt. However, its use in bakeries is attributed to the Greeks and Romans. Baklava, a type of filo dough, was created in the Roman Empire. In the 17th century, pastry baking became extremely popular and several timeless creations such as puff pastry were developed then. Today, pastries are consumed worldwide and new variations are developed routinely. What are pastries made of? Some commonly used ingredients in pastry dough include flour, such as low-protein pastry flour, at 100%. Fat like butter or margarine at 50 to 80%. Sugar, white granulated at 25 to 40%. Salt, granulated at 0.5 to 10%. Water, ice cold at 25 to 30%. How are pastries made? Pie crust made with pastry dough is manufactured through the following process: weighing and scaling of the ingredients. Mixing, flour and fat are mixed in a stainless steel vessel. Liquid addition, ice water is added, and gently mixed to avoid gluten development. Refrigeration, dough is cooled overnight. Pressed crust production, for small operations, includes dividing and pressing. Dough balls are formed and pressed into a pie plate. Filling, pie filling is deposited on the pie crust. Baking, pies are baked at 450 to 500 degrees Fahrenheit or 230 to 260 degrees Celsius. Baking time will depend on the type of pie. Cooling, pies are cooled to room temperature for further processing. And finally, packaging. Rolled crust production, for large operations, includes sheeting. Dough is rolled using a sheeting machine to a specified width and thickness, and cut into rectangles. Rolling, using a cross-rolling machine. Depositing and filling. Button crust is placed in pan, and filling is deposited on dough. Finally, the top crust is placed on the pie and is crimped and trimmed. Baking. Pies are baked at 450 to 500 degrees Fahrenheit, or 230 to 260 degrees Celsius. Baking time will depend on the type of pie. Cooling. Pies are cooled to room temperature for further processing. And finally, packaging. Curious to learn about common types of pastries and how they are produced? Visit Bakerpedia. Learn more about all things baking by signing up for our newsletter. Until next time, bakers. At Bakerpedia, we're here on a need-to-know basis.